Matt, cover it now. Cover it. Go.
Forget that boring bowl from KFC. We're doing an Indian fried chicken with a coconut curry sauce on top. You're gonna wish KFC had this on the menu. Without further ado, let's get to cooking. We're going to start this recipe off by making the crispy Indian fried chicken. This is actually a very popular Indian dish called chicken 65, and it's always recommended that you use boneless, skinless chicken thighs when making this dish. Take your chicken thighs and clean up a little bit of the fat, then you're going to cut them into 1-inch strips, then cut them into 1-inch pieces that resemble popcorn chicken. Now for the marinade, place the chicken in a large bowl, then add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil and a half a cup of yogurt. Next, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste. If you don't have this, you could take a little bit of ginger and garlic, mince it up nice and fine, and add it to the marinade. Season with a little salt, pepper, and a big pinch of sugar. Now we're gonna add a few teaspoons of lemon juice before adding all of our spices. We're gonna start with 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of Kashmiri chili powder. The reason for using this chili powder is it's traditional to the dish, but also it's a little milder in flavor. Next, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, 2 teaspoons of garam masala powder, and then 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds or ground cumin if you have it. Now gently mix the spices into the yogurt, then combine it completely with the chicken, and you'll know you've mixed it enough when the chicken turns slightly orange in color. Now cover the chicken in plastic wrap and place in the fridge for at least 30 minutes, but up to a few hours to marinate. While the chicken marinates, we're going to work on making the base of the dish, our creamy mashed potatoes for our KFC bowl. Just like in our other videos, we're going to take some russet potatoes, give them a wash, peel them, and cut them into 1-inch pieces. The size of the pieces doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that they're all the same size so they cook evenly. Place the cut potatoes in a large pot filled with cold water, then place the pot on the stove, turn the heat to high, add a little bit of salt, and boil for around 30 minutes or until the potatoes are fork tender. Once cooked, drain the potatoes, add them back to the pot along with 1 stick of melted butter, then mashing the potatoes just a little bit before adding some warm milk a little at a time. Continue mashing until the potatoes are nice and smooth. Give them a taste, then season with salt, pepper, and we're going to add a little bit of cilantro and green onion. Now typically I would add garlic, but since we're using a coconut curry sauce with this, there's going to be plenty of garlic in the sauce, so it's not needed in the potatoes. Give them one final mix, keep warm, and set aside until you're ready to use. Now let's move on to making our delicious coconut curry sauce. In a large pan on medium heat, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil, and once the oil is hot, we're going to add a little bit of garlic that we peeled and minced up nice and fine, followed by a 1/2-inch piece of ginger that we peeled and minced up the same as the garlic. We're going to add a little pinch of salt and pepper, and we're going to saute for around 1 minute or until the garlic and ginger is nice and fragrant. Now we're going to add 1 Roma tomato that we sliced in half, remove the seeds, julienned, and diced up nice and fine. And also, don't forget to add a little pinch of salt to the tomatoes. This will help to draw out some of the moisture. Once the tomatoes begin to soften, we're going to add one of my favorite condiments, this Patox chili relish. As far as I know, this is the only condiment out there that has the flavor profile that I'm looking for. I've been searching the web and nothing comes close to this. I highly recommend you give it a try. Once the chili relish is nice and fragrant, we're going to go in with 1/2 cup of a dry white wine such as a Chardonnay, and then we're going to let it reduce by half. Once the wine is nice and reduced, we're going to add 15 ounces of coconut milk, and what I like to do is blend it up in a blender. This will allow the coconut cream and coconut water to combine, and it'll help when you're reducing the sauce so the sauce doesn't break. Once the sauce is reduced, we're going to add about 1 to 2 teaspoons of some lime juice. This is going to add some nice acid to the dish, which will help balance the flavors. Then we're going to finish with some coriander that we finely chopped up earlier, as well as some green onion that we finely chopped up earlier as well. Let the sauce cook for another minute or 2, then give it a taste and adjust the seasoning to your liking, and you'll know the sauce is thick enough when it coats the back of a spoon. Keep the sauce warm until you're ready to serve. Now there's one more thing we have to do before we can deep fry the chicken. Our chicken's been marinating for about an hour, and in order to get this nice and crispy, we have to add 2 egg whites to the bowl, followed by a 1/2 cup of rice flour and a 1/2 cup of cornstarch. The combination of the rice flour, cornstarch, and eggs is going to allow this chicken to get super crispy, and I should probably mention that this entire recipe is also gluten-free. Go ahead and mix the flour into the chicken until it's evenly combined throughout, then we're going to get ready to deep fry the chicken. In a Dutch oven or deep fryer filled no more than halfway up with vegetable oil, we're going to heat the oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then very carefully, you're going to drop in the pieces of chicken. You want to get the pieces of chicken as close to the oil as possible before laying them in the oil. Don't be afraid to get your hand close to the oil. If you drop the chicken from too high, it'll splash and you'll risk burning yourself. You want to fry the chicken for around 5 to 6 minutes or until until the internal temperature reaches about 165 degrees and the chicken is nice and golden brown. Repeat the process with the rest of your chicken in batches, then drain the chicken on a wire rack and immediately season with salt. Now what I'm about to show you is what not to do in the kitchen. When you get lazy, you make mistakes and you can hurt yourself. You must cut the chilies in half before tempering them in hot oil. If you don't do that, this is what happens. Back up for a minute. So I knew I had to cut the chilies to relieve the pressure. When you get tired, you make mistakes, and we're lucky I didn't cause a fire or burn ourselves. So with that being said, there's only one more step we have to do to complete this dish before we can serve it up. In a large wok on medium heat, add a little bit of vegetable oil and some minced garlic, ginger, and 2 teaspoons of Kashmiri chili powder. Fry for around 1 minute or until the garlic is fragrant. Then we're going to add a handful of curry leaves. If you have trouble finding curry leaves, check your Indian market. They add a ton of flavor to this dish, but if you can't find them, it's okay to leave them out. Let the curry leaves get fragrant, add your fried chicken with a few chilies, give that all a toss together, and that's your delicious Indian popcorn chicken, aka Chicken 65. Now we're going to build this KFC bowl with some mashed potatoes on the bottom of the plate, followed by our popcorn chicken, a few chilies, a generous amount of our coconut curry sauce on top, then we're going to garnish with coriander and green onion. I really hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I'm starving, my mouth's watering. Let's try it and see how we did. Alright, I've been waiting all day to eat this. It better be good because I almost killed myself trying to make this for you guys. Oh my god. Holy sh**. This might be the best thing I ever made. You need to try this. You gotta try it. Come on.
Oh! I would eat that every day for the rest of my life. It is. It's the best thing you ever had.
It's that good. Wow. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. I'm at a loss for words. All right, let me start by saying this. Chicken's crispy, juicy on the inside, tons of spices, got a lot of flavor from those Indian spices. If you've never had Chicken 65, I do have another video that goes a little more in depth on how to make it. If KFC can take fried chicken, put it with mashed potatoes and gravy, we can do the same thing. Indian fried chicken with a coconut curry, that's the gravy. If you don't want it to be super spicy, use the big chilies instead of the small chilies. If there's one dish out of all the dishes I've made, this is the dish you gotta make. If you guys end up trying it, leave me a comment. Let me know how you liked it. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.